I grew up in a very Catholic home, and a lot of my childhood, my grandmother lived with me, and she was a very, very devout Catholic. And I grew up going to church and being an altar server and being very involved in that ministry there. And at the same time, I always just had a lot of questions. I was just a kid with a lot of questions. I remember being kind of feeling worried about myself as a little kid, that I felt from a young age that I didn't have the faith of the people that I saw around me. My grandmother and I were very close, and I remember at nighttime I shared a bed with her most nights, and hearing her pray the rosary every night, and she just had no doubt that God existed and that her husband, who had died way before I was born, that she was going to see him again. She just it was like she just knew that she was praying to God. And I remember being really little and thinking but is that real? I mean, is there for sure a God? And but at the same time, having that desire for God to be real. I never have had a very good imagination. I don't have a very good imagination. I'm not creative. I don't have much of an imagination. But as a child, when I did imagine, it always had to do with God. Imagining conversations with God. I remember being an altar server, and at night services, there were lights in the beautiful church that I grew up in. Lights that would light up on people's heads, and me imagining that they were angels. All of my imaginations had to do with God. We found the vine when Jenny was about 3 months old. I was up late one night nursing Jenny when she was a baby. We'd been going to the vine for a few months, and I just kind of wanted, I just kept praying, I hope that this is where we're supposed to be. I hope that this is a good thing to put energy towards, because we had just bounced around for so long. And I just prayed, I would love a sign. I would love to know that we're in the right place and this is where we're supposed to be. And I heard a voice in my head, and it was not mine. It was like a male voice, and it kept saying John something or other, numbers. And then finally I woke up, and I thought, that's a Bible verse. And I grabbed my phone and pulled it up, and it was the Bible verse in John that says, the vine and the branches. I am the vine and the branches. And I thought, well, if I've ever had a sign in my whole life. And a couple months later, my brother died. My brother Dominic took his own life on March 1st, 2016. It was completely unexpected. Even though he'd struggled with depression his whole life, we thought he was doing a lot better. He was about to graduate from college. So it was absolutely devastating. I remember thinking, I can't go back to church. I won't be able to handle it. I'll just cry the whole time. And I did. I want to say 2 weeks after he died, I decided to go back, and I did cry through the entire service. But people like Emily Payne, Carrie Martin, and Rochelle Palmer, they just held my hand and told me, we're here for you. This is what church is supposed to be. This is why we do life together, so we can be with other people in these hard times. Even though I have a horrible imagination, I like to imagine every year when his birthday comes, what he would have been at that age. He would have been 30 last year. I think about what he would have looked like at 30, what his life might have been like at 30. I've had a few dreams with him in them where he's we're always in a crowd of people, and he finds me and he gives me a big hug and tells me that he loves me. he was real good at that. He gave really good hugs, and he was real good at seeing like if you were really okay or not. He'd ask me, like, "Are you sure you're okay? Are you really good?" And so I guess that's what I imagine, like, that someday I really do. I hope so much that I'll be able to see him and see him happy.